Hi, it's Shocky from Newcastle Fans TV. Now we've got Mike from Watford. He's a Watford supporter and he's going to be telling you everything about Watford.
Hello Newcastle Fans TV, it's Mike from the Watford podcast from the Rookery End here with a few thoughts ahead of the weekend's intriguing clash actually at St James's Park at the weekend. But where else to start really other than the Marco Silva situation. Now I'm torn, I've got two sort of feelings, two main emotions about the whole Silva saga. One is disappointment really, because it seems like Marco Silva's had his head turned very early into the campaign, very early into his Watford career. Now, that's not to say that as Watford supporters we're not realistic. We realise coaches and players are probably going to use Watford as a bit of a springboard. There's only so far they can realistically go with Watford. So we were never really in any doubt that Silva might look to push on and pursue other avenues if he was successful at Watford. But to see him want to move on so soon after the start of the season is pretty disappointing, really. Watford fans have really bought into him. He's got us playing some really nice stuff, and I think we're a little bit disappointed that apparently he might have fluttered his eyelashes a little bit up at the guys at Goodison. On the other hand, what I think is hugely encouraging is that the Watford hierarchy, the owners, Gino Pozzo and Scott Duxbury, the chairman, have stood firm, and they haven't allowed him to go. It seems today there's a story in the Independent today on Thursday that it seems like Everton have given up the chase, which is great news for Watford because it shows that they can be tough, they can stand up to supposedly bigger clubs. Although I'm watching Everton this evening at home to Atalanta, losing at home in front of a half-empty stadium on the back of the worst ever start to a Europa League campaign. But it shows that Watford can stand up to these guys, and I think that's important, not just because it means we get to hang on to our head coach for now, but also in January when the transfer window opens again, we're going to get bids for players like Richarlison and Abdoulaye Doucouré, who have been absolutely superb for this season. So us showing the footballing world that we're tough and we're not necessarily little old Watford and aren't just going to roll over and have our tummies tickled when it comes to holding on to our assets is a good thing. So a bit contradicted really, a bit conflicted, disappointed that apparently he wanted to go, but pleased with the way that my club's handled it. And I think he's shown with the Sunday's performance against West Ham that Silva can still perform even in the midst of this maelstrom of uncertainty. Watford fans are delighted so far with the way the season's gone. We've had it all really. We've had last minute equalisers, last minute winners. We've had games that we've lost that we should have won. We've thrown games away, but overall we're playing some really, really good football. I think there was probably people took more notice of our little losing streak. We lost 3 in a row. We lost to Chelsea away, Stoke at home, and then that incredible game at Everton where we were 2-0 up and lost 3-2. I think more people took notice of those games than they did from our better performances. But overall, the style of play has been good. Marco Silva's got us playing some really, really good football. People like Richarlison bombing down the wing are an absolute revelation. Hugely, hugely exciting to watch Watford at the moment, and that simply couldn't be said last year under Matsari. So when you're taking your seats on Saturday at St James's, some of the players that I reckon you ought to be keeping an eye out for, you've probably heard all about Richarlison now, the 20-year-old Brazilian wonder kid who's been making a name for himself in the Premier League. He's been scoring goals, he's been creating assists, he's been making players look a little bit daft. He's the real deal. He's a real exciting player to watch. He feels like the first real star that Watford have had for a long, long time. He's just one of those guys that gets the crowd standing up, gets bums off seats. There's that little buzz of anticipation whenever he gets the ball. And the thing that I really like about Richarlison is not just his goal scoring exploits and his skills, but he's tough, really, really tough. As his reputation's grown, so has the attention he's got from opposition sort of defenders and midfielders, and he's been sort of treated to some really tough tackling and some over the top stuff. But he just gets up and gets on with it. He doesn't mind a fight at all. He looks quite slight, but this guy's super tough. So yeah, he's a real star, and one I think opposition fans will actually enjoy watching. He's that good. He's really good. Doucouré in the middle of the park as well. He's just absolutely sublime. He's got incredible engine, gets up and down the pitch, does the dirty work. He's not afraid of putting a tackle in, but from an attacking point of view, he's great as well. He gets forward. He's not afraid to have a shot, as his goal stats will tell you. So he's some player. And a guy that might have crept under the radar, sort of right wing back, is Kiko Firmino. Really good. He's looked solid defensively. But one of the good things about Watford is they really what they'll do, they'll let the opposition have quite a lot of the ball, but when Watford do get it, they turn defence into attack very quickly, and they rely on people like Firmino, the wing backs, to do that. So he's one to watch out for in that right wing back role. He's really impressed me, and as a free transfer, he could well be the signing of the summer for Watford, which is saying something considering we brought in people like Richarlison. So I'd say those three. Keep an eye out for Firmino, Doucouré, Richarlison. You've got someone from every part of the park covered there, so plenty to go on. In terms of the style, like I said, you're just going to see Watford go for it. They're going to go toe-to-toe. They will let Newcastle have the ball. They'll be well organised and compact. They will be patient. They'll defend deep, but when they get the ball, what you'll see is they'll turn defence into attack very quickly. They've transitioned very, very well. It's something that's stood them in good stead this season. And when they get their tails up, when Watford get their tails up, they can be it can be quite difficult for the opposition to get back out of their own half. So I think you'll see Watford just going for it like they have in most games this season. I think they're very, very unlikely to change the way they play. So to finish off, just a little bit about Newcastle. Well, to be honest, I haven't seen much of you guys, which is I'm going to let you in on a little secret here now. My dad was born in Jarrow, and he's officially a Newcastle fan, but we moved down south when I was very, very young, and he took the decision that he wasn't going to make us support his childhood team because we'd never get to see him because we live so far away. So he's a Newcastle fan, but despite that, I haven't seen much of Newcastle this season. Had a quick look at the league table, and obviously doing okay. It strikes me that perhaps lacking a bit in a goal scorer. I've always thought there's a decent striker in Mitrovic trying to get out, but season after season we haven't really seen it from him, have we? So I guess for Newcastle, I think, again, like Watford, you're going to be looking for consolidation. I think there are enough teams a lot worse than Newcastle that you don't have to worry about relegation. I just think that goal scoring is potentially an issue. I like Dwight Gale. I think he's a good player, and we've seen enough of Matt Ritchie in our little tussles with Bournemouth over the years to know that he's a decent player as well. And I have time for Rafa Benitez. I think he's a good guy. So I think Newcastle doing all right. I don't know how you guys feel about it. It'd be interesting to see your thoughts on how Newcastle are going and what you think about what you should get from the game on Saturday. So like I've said all the way through, this promises to be a really entertaining one. Both teams will fancy they can get something out of it. I hope we both enjoy it, but I hope come Saturday evening I've got a broader smile on my face than you guys. Sorry about that. If any of you are podcast fans and would like to hear the Watford fans' take on Saturday's game, then make sure you do download the From the Rookery End podcast. It'll probably be out on Monday. All you need to do is search iTunes for From the Rookery End or your favourite podcast obtaining thingamajig. God, sounding old now. I don't just look old, although not many old people have like massive spots like this. But I don't just look old, I feel old when I talk about podcasting, capturing it. Anyway, I'm waffling. If you want to hear what Watford fans think about the game, download From the Rookery End on Monday. You can follow me on Twitter at Rookery Mike, and you can follow the podcast at Watford Podcast. Thanks very much for having me on. Thanks for putting up with all my waffle. Hope some of it's made sense, and look forward to welcoming you to Vicarage Road later in the season. Cheers, chaps and chapesses.
Now, that was Mike from Watford. Let me know what you think about Watford as a club, the game on Saturday, and don't forget to check them out.